Hello everyone, I'm Dave Robbins with Endtime Ministries, and this is your Prophecy in the News. I want to talk to you today about a few post-election thoughts that I had, something to go over with you that keep you up to date on what's going on. There's a prophecy in the Bible. It's about World War III. It's Revelation 9, 13 through 21. I want to read the prophecy to you and then give you a few thoughts about what just happened in the election. This is Revelation 9:13, about down through verse 18, somewhere in there. It says, "And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, a day, a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them, and thus I saw the horse in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, jacinth, and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these were the third part of men killed, by the fire and the smoke, the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths." So the first thing that we see from this prophecy is that this is the sixth trumpet war. Of course, you understand the seven trumpets in the book of Revelation. Well, I can prove to you that the first five trumpets have already occurred. And the Bible says that this is the sixth trumpet. So it's the next big event to occur on the prophecy timeline. So you say, well, how does this tie into the election? Well, it's very possible and likely that Obama could be president of the United States when this war occurs. You say, well, why do you say that? Well, I've got an article here from the Jerusalem Post today that says 2013 is set to be a decisive year for Iran and Syria. So there's a few things to look at in the prophecy. Number one, the Bible says that it's the sixth trumpet war. Number two, that it comes from out of the Euphrates River region, which is the Middle East. This war will begin in the Middle East, and when all the smoke clears, 1/3 of the world is going to be killed or wiped out in this war. And of course, you say, well, what's going on in the Middle East? Well, you've got civil war going on right now in Syria, and over 30,000 people have been killed in this war already. So this article is saying Obama's going to have to deal with that. Obama and Israel and some of the other countries around there in the world are going to have to deal with Syria this next year because it's a tragedy what's going on over there. So that's happening in the northern end of the Euphrates. In the southern end of the Euphrates, you've got Israel and the United States discussing bombing, going in on doing a military strike on Iran to keep them from developing nuclear weapons because they've said, we get nuclear weapons, we're going to wipe Israel off the face of the map. Or they've actually said we're not building nuclear weapons, but they're all the time claiming Israel needs to be driven into the sea. So Israel and the United States' fear is that if they do get nuclear weapons, they're going to attack Israel and wipe them off the face of the map. So it's very likely that during the next 4-year term, Obama could be the president of the United States and reside over this country when that war happens. So, and it's obviously that the United States will be involved because we're involved in everything going on in the Middle East right now. So what should we be doing? Well, number one, we need to pray for our leaders. You say, pray for our leaders, pray for President Obama? Absolutely. We need to pray for the man. I've had so many people say, well, Obama's the Antichrist. I'm not going to pray for him. That's not true. Obama's not the Antichrist. That's a big statement. Obama's not the Antichrist. The Antichrist comes from a revived Holy Roman Empire. The Antichrist is going to come from Europe somewhere, not the United States, not the Middle East. So Obama's not the Antichrist. We need to pray for our leaders. Could God turn Obama around? Absolutely. He could turn him around on a dime. We need to pray for our leaders, just like Daniel did back in the Old Testament. He swayed kingdoms with his prayers. So prayer is the absolute most important thing we could do right now. Pray and fast for our nation. Another thing is that who knows why God put Obama back in the White House? Because this is a great time, this is a great opportunity for revival in our nation. You say, well, what will happen? Well, when these things get to happening, all these prophecies start occurring, and this war starts taking place, there's a lot of people who will turn towards a world government, But there's also a lot of other people that says, I'm not going to take part of that. I'm going to turn to God at this time. And that's what we need to do, you and I, is to be here to facilitate, to prepare ourselves to facilitate the revival that is going to come. This is a great opportunity for revival. The Bible says, where sin doth abound, grace doth much more abound. So I can name off a number of sins that that's happening in the United States, whether it's same-sex marriage, abortion, all kinds of different things going on right now. It's just getting passed right and left. But yet the Bible says, where sin doth abound, grace doth much more abound. So it's a great opportunity for you and I to win our friends, family, and our community to God. So that's how we're looking at this election yesterday. And these are my kind of some post-election thoughts that are going through my head. And I want to keep you up to date with what's going on. So I thank you for watching. I'm Dave Robbins with Endtime Ministries, and this has been your Prophecy in the News.